What's going on? What's going on?
Entertain the Geeky.
Welcome back.
You're ridiculous. You're a ridiculous person.
So, over the last couple of weeks here, it's been more than a couple of weeks, but for months we've been talking about The Legend of Zelda: Tears for the Kingdom coming out.
Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of the Kingdom.
Get it right.
The Tears for the Kingdom are what we had before.
Get it right,
noob.
Yeah,
we wanted it.
My bad. So we had been talking about it for a good period of time, and it's out now, and we're seeing how creative the community is with it, and how just that's the only thing on the internet, like as far as games go, that anybody's fucking talking about right now.
I know, it's insane.
Nothing else matters.
It's insane.
And it's like, it's the Nintendo game. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's so much so that, like, I play Final Fantasy 14. I'm in a free company with, like 100 plus people. Nobody's online.
No.
Nobody's online. I go in there, I'm like, where are all my friends? Because they're all playing Tears of the Kingdom. Like, literally, the producer, Yoshi P, who's kind of the head of Final Fantasy 14, every month they'll put out this thing called like the letter from the director, and literally it starts with him playing Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah, and he's like, "We're making the game easier so you can play this."
Right?
Like that's how just pervasive it is. Like how
I mean, we've seen developers across the industry saying, "Oh my god, this is a masterpiece."
It is. Well, that is the gaming culture right now, and that's so fucking crazy.
Yeah, I go to GameStop, right? I mean, I am a GameStop, and trust me when I say GameStop isn't paying me shit to give them any kind of getting glowing recommendation, which I wouldn't, because they're not great at what they do. But I do like to buy my video games from a local game store, and so I go to GameStop, my local GameStop, and I oftentimes will go to Thursday night releases for things because I'll take Friday off. I'm going to sit up all night. I'm going to enjoy the game, right? And I'll see 10, 15 people there. There were 60 people in that GameStop Thursday the 11th. Like, that was insane to me. The guy was passing the time as the last 10 minutes approached when he could give the game out to everybody. I was first, by the way. I got in there early enough to get one of the little line tickets that had a number 1 on it, and I was just standing there with it stuck to my head. I'm first, guys. Don't try to take it. It's mine. Right?
Look at me.
He was passing the time in the last 10 minutes because it was building to a fever pitch in there, man. People were, I gotta get my game. I gotta go home and play my game right now. And he was passing the time by asking trivia questions to the audience because he personally was not a Zelda fan. And he was like, "You guys are so obsessed. You Zelda fans are so obsessed with this kind of stuff." He's like, "I found these little trivia questions I'm going to ask, see how good you are." So the one he asked that I really enjoyed, and it was kind of clever, and it caught a lot of people off guard. How many Legend of Zelda games have the word Link in the title?
I believe 3.
Which are?
Link to the Past, Link's Awakening, and Link Between Worlds.
There's 4.
There's 4. What's the other one?
Adventure of Link.
Ah! I was close.
On Nintendo. You were close. Yeah. And most people said 3.
Yeah.
Except me, standing up right up front with my number 1, I said there's 4.
Zelda 2. Yep.
He's like, this is more than just a metaphor for my place here.
This is 4.
I am number 1.
I'm number 1, and there are 4.
You had a much better experience in acquiring the game than I did.
Yeah.
Because I didn't actually get my physical copy until, let's see, it came out on the 12th.
Friday.
I got mine 5 days later. I actually got my physical copy on the 17th. However, your boy, Mike, here,
he's a crazy person.
He has both an Australian and a Japanese Nintendo account and has a source for getting Australian and Japanese gift cards for their eShop. You don't need a VPN on the Switch. You literally just log in, and as long as you have a payment method, you can get that game like a day and a half early because Australia and Japan get the game
That's
earlier.
incredible.
So I was playing it on the 11th.
Yeah, I'm at work, right? And he sends me a picture of like the prologue he's playing through. I'm just like, I called him. I was like, "What are you just trying to rub it in? Like, how do you have access to the game?"
And my answer was yes. Yes,
and he went, "Yeah, I created a Japanese Nintendo account." I was like, "Oh, so you got a VPN?" And he was like, "No." And I was like, "So Nintendo doesn't vet you? Just say I can just tell them I'm in Japan." They're like, "Sure, you're in Japan."
Sony makes it much more difficult.
Right, Sony actually vets your account to make sure you're regionally in the place you're supposed to be.
So like
right?
I have multiple Sony devices.
And you can spoof that with a VPN.
Mm-hmm. So you don't even have to have a VPN to do Sony, but you can only have that account logged in. So like, he's
thought about it.
You guys want to know how to cheat this shit?
He's thought about it.
So like my
You're not even a real gamer.
My PSTV, which is a Vita, the guts of a Vita that you plug into your TV. That is exclusively a European device. Because there are things on the European eShop or whatever PlayStation store you can't get in America. So,
sure.
Sometimes you gotta have that access.
Sometimes you gotta break the system, and that's
yeah.
I don't follow your rules.
Well, so I guess the question is, right? I'm often touted because of how much time I spend in game worlds, whereas you will play a game once and you'll move on. I'm often touted as the one that's more addicted. But I would argue that if you're spoofing your account to say you're in Japan, you might be a little worse than me, bro.
I mean, I'm super addicted, just in different ways. Like I'm just somebody that doesn't reconsume media often. If I do, it takes a long time to get there. I can think
give it a breather.
Well, I can think of one book that I've read twice in my life. I've never reread any other books besides Robert Jordan's first Wheel of Time book, The Eye of the World. I've read that twice. I've never read a book more than once. But I'm
on my 20th reread of the Legend of Drizzt trilogy.
Sure,
but
I have almost perfect recollection of that stuff. Like for me to go and revisit it, I'm like, there's so many other things to go and do. Like I haven't replayed Breath of the Wild. I did my one playthrough, and that was enough. I haven't replayed it. Maybe I will.
Played it like 8 times.
I'll tell you, I can't like playing Tears of the Kingdom. Kind of is making me think when I'm done, maybe I want to go and do it because now it's going to have a whole new perspective, right?
Oh, that's the most exciting thing is my replay of Breath of the Wild after Tears of the Kingdom. Right. That's going to be the most exciting thing.
So that's what it takes is because now before just replaying Breath of the Wild didn't feel necessary, but now with Tears of the Kingdom, it's like a whole new thing. Like this, like
the entirety of Breath of the Wild's timeline could not have existed without what happened in Tears of the Kingdom. The reason Calamity Ganon rose is because of their fight against Ganondorf in ancient times. If they hadn't imprisoned him, Calamity Ganon never would have rose in the first place.
And Jason and I have not beaten this yet.
No, we're not done.
There's still surprises coming. But like so far, man, some of the coolest stuff and like how it recontextualizes the things that you saw in Breath of the Wild is really fascinating. The most fascinating thing for me was, and I texted you as soon as it happened, was yesterday when I reached a point in the game where I understood why it's called Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
Like the whole time I'm like, why is this the title going into it?
The little rocks are kind of shaped like tears maybe, and that's what you're calling. Okay, that's
so
what
I'm like, okay, maybe it's that. And then I'm like, okay, well I see these like little puddles of memory. I'm like, that's probably something to do with it. And maybe that's a little bit of it. But when you finally just get the honest
I think that is
like,
something we
debate.
won't spoil, right? Yeah. We may spoil some things, so keep that in mind if you're here with us. That is something I think we shouldn't spoil.
We should not spoil it.
It's one of the greatest moments I've ever seen in Zelda history.
You'll feel elated. You'll feel sad.
Oh God, I cried. I cried when I was watching
Jason
that scene.
Literally like made me play that moment while he was on the phone with me yesterday.
It was like, I'm about to watch this scene. I was like, go ahead.
He's like, I'm just going to sit here on the phone. It was a little creepy.
I'll be quiet. I'll be quiet and just sit here on the phone.
I just want to hear you breathe. I just want to hear you breathe.
Yeah.
No.
I could hear him breathe.
I could hear what was going on in the scene in the background.
He started crying on the phone.
And it made me cry again just listening to it.
So like, I mean, like that's
a brilliant moment.
That's what this game is. But I mean,
the story is so good.
The only clue I'll say is those little puddles, which are, I think they're called the Tears of the Dragon.
Yeah.
If you want to know why the game is called Tears of the Kingdom, pursue that.
Keep looking for them puddles. There's a bunch of them all over the map. There's like 11 or 12 of them.
Go and fill the map out. Yeah. When you're up on the towers, you'll see these hieroglyphs or whatever they call them.
Glyphs. Yeah, there's big pictures drawn on the ground.
Go and find the little puddles. Do that a few times, and you'll get your answer as to why the title is what it is.
Yeah, I kind of wish I didn't know it, right? Because I was talking about how that scene, out of context, right, based on what you're doing within the present day timeline with Link, like some things might have hit differently had I not known that as I've gotten to them, right? And I'm just like, well, I wish I wouldn't have known that because that seems like they were keeping it like a mystery.
And it's a game that's going to hit different for everyone. Yes. We'll have similar paths, but the game kind of just lets you go where you want. Like just like Breath of the Wild, once you get done with the tutorial, it's like, all right, go.
Now I did hear again. I've not played it yet,
right?
And I want to talk about my experience with getting hands on the game. So I wanted the Target exclusive for the release day because it came with a fanny pack. Jason has laughed
My
at me.
man loves him some fanny
multiple
packs
times.
over
As
here.
does my wife.
Right, loves him some fanny packs.
like,
I
dude,
hate them.
Jason's like, you're such a fucking nerd. And I'm like, yeah, I need that. So I
Store
could
my
not,
amiibo in there.
I could not get in soon enough.
Right.
I would have had to have been there Thursday at midnight or something like that. I had D&D that night. We didn't get done until 11, so there's no way I'm going to get to Target in time.
Right.
And then Friday, instead of being able to like go straight there, I had to work a regular 9 to 5 bullshit. So I called my buddy, and I was like, "Hey, can you swing by here and get this for me?" He's like, "Yeah, I was going to go get mine." And he calls me and he's like, "These fucking nerds were here all night and took all the goddamn fanny packs." And I was like, "What?"
No fanny pack for you.
No, man. So now I have to find one on eBay if I really want one. And I'm like, do I want one that bad? To pay $100 for it or something?
How dedicated are you to fanny
my
packs?
wife works for Target part-time. We could probably find their names. And
We should.
just saying.
How many people want to kick some ass?
I've never gone on a assault mission for fanny packs.
I don't think anybody has gone on an assault mission for fanny packs, but it's time.
What better time than now?
Well, I mean,
what better place than here?
We're calling people to arms. I need one of these fucking
we're
fanny
calling
packs.
people to fannies. Really.
Yeah.
Fanny packs. Yeah.
We're not in Europe because otherwise that's a.
Jeez. Yeah, the GameStop gave out a couple of cool things, and I didn't expect it, right? But I bought the amiibo because they had extras. I was like,
That amiibo's sweet.
I saw them back there, and I was like, do you have extras of those? And he was like, yeah. I was like, how much are they? And he's like, they're 17,
right?
$15, something like that. And I was like, yeah, I'll take one, right? I mean, I have all the other amiibo in card form. I'll take one.
Card form.
Right. But when I finished paying off my pre-order, he goes, did we give you the bonuses yet? I was like, no, what's up?
Bonuses?
Right. And so he gave me this little like carved piece of wood that has Raru's hand symbol on it with all of the accoutrement and the like Sheikah symbols on there. And if you turn it upside down, it works both ways because the Yiga, that's all they did is they turned it upside down. It's cool. And they gave me one of those sleeves that makes you look like you have tattoos that looks like Link's arm in the
that's
game.
so
Sick.
cool.
Yeah, and I was wearing it when I picked it up. I was like, fuck yeah, put it on. Because I sat in that parking lot for like 2 hours waiting for that game.
He's like, and then he kissed me on the forehead and bid me farewell.
What a great experience.
It was cool. Yeah, it was a cool little thing. I didn't expect it, right? I don't really expect a bonus.
I expect a fanny pack.
You were expecting the fanny pack.
Yeah.
I'm
I just
disappointed. I'm
expected
sorry
my
you
game
didn't- Yeah, I just
actually
wanted
on
the
time.
game. Yeah, I just wanted the game.
Target, do better with your shipping. I pre-ordered that like
When
9
it went on
months ago.
sale for pre-order.
Why am I
Yeah,
getting it?
That's when I
Like,
did it.
It's
too.
so hit or miss. You know, like Mario Odyssey when it came out, I got the day before release, so that was cool. But since then, come
God
on,
of War.
man.
God of
Like,
War. That happened to you with God of War,
Oh,
too.
yeah, like
2018 God of War.
I-
That's how I got 2018
I've
God of
reached
War.
a point now with Target shipping me games that I end up just going and buying a copy and then giving the one that didn't come on time.
Yeah, so that's how I got my copy of God of War. He'd actually come over right after that game came out, like telling me, like, you got to review this on your show. And it was when I was doing Nerd News regularly. And I was like, yeah, I'm down, right? But I haven't played it yet. And he's like, I'll just bring my copy over and you can try out at least the intro so you kind of get the feel for what the game is. I was like, cool, yeah, I can do that. So I played it. Beautiful, fantastic game. I think we played all the way up to the Baldur encounter, and then we stopped and we recorded the episode. Great, beautiful game. And so we finished the episode, and he's like, oh, I got to get going. And I'm like, okay, hold on, let me grab your game. And he just goes, no, that's your game. And I'm just like, what are you talking about?
Santa?
And he was like, so what happened was, mine's
What
not going to be
happened
delivered
was-
till tomorrow. So I just went out and bought another one. So I have a second copy of the game coming like today. So, or today or tomorrow, whatever it was. He was like, so just keep it. And I was just like, you're the man, dude. And I mean, I think I went hard that day. I think I got through like 10 to 12 hours of that game that first day.
He's like,
because it's so good.
I quit my job that day so I could finish it.
It's so good. And also, it was a gift from my buddy, right? I wanted, this is cool. I never expected this. I'm going to play this,
Right.
you know?
You joke about quitting your job for a game. I've never quit a job for a game.
I've taken time off for a game.
I've never, like, since becoming employed when I was 16, I've never not been employed. I've always retained that. But I did one time drop out of college for a game, and it was such a bad game, guys.
Which game was it?
Did you finish college?
Warhammer Online.
Oh no.
We were all sick and tired of World of Warcraft.
Oh my god!
And so we started playing that. What was it? I forget. It was like dark fantasy or something. But anyway, it was super cool. And then it had it was not worth dropping out of college. Yeah, I never went back.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
college dropout. I did well for myself.
A bunch of people dropped out of fucking college for World of Warcraft, though. So you just kind of...
I did it for the wrong game.
You were alternative about it.
I would drop out of college for Final Fantasy 14. I would drop out of college for Tears of the Kingdom.
He's like, I'm going to enroll in college so I can drop out.
Tears of the Kingdom is dropout worthy.
It
might be job quitting worthy, but... bills.
Yeah, I mean, I got fired from my job the week Tears of the Kingdom came out, so I get to play some Tears of the Kingdom before my new job
Tears
starts.
of the Kingdom said, "Oh no, you're going to play me."
Yeah. But so we've talked a lot about anecdotal and thoughts on the game. I think before we're finished here, we should talk about a couple of the specific abilities that have been added for the game. Right? So, Ultra Hand.
Ultra Hand's amazing.
Ultra Hand is brilliant.
It's like magnesis for everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
If it's not a living creature, unless it's a Korok
or grass.
Yeah, yes. Like you can pretty much make anything. I decided to test the limits of it. Like I was just like, how far can you take this? There is a limit, which is not surprising. Switch is aging hardware, but so you can, from the original item, you can attach 20 things. That's the limit. Yeah. But depending on what that is, it can be pretty wild. Like you can make a bridge pretty dang far. And that was like my first aha moment was using Ultra Hand just like
to make a bridge. I connected like 20 things because I was like, I guess I can't get across this. Oh wait, I can connect like 20 trees and just make a big mile-long bridge to walk across.
Breath of the Wild was a great example of just like a physics playground.
Yeah.
But there was still some limitations to certain things. Tears of the Kingdom essentially is like, I'm coming in as this Breath of the Wild player. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I couldn't do this in Breath of the Wild, but can I do this in here? Yes.
Yeah.
Nintendo is just like, every question you're going to ask, the answer's going to be
yes. You can do that.
If you want to do this, yes. That's really stupid, but you can do it, though.
Yeah, I mean, there's the shrines in Breath of the Wild. I always said, it's funny, right? Because when you look at them, it's about how your brain perceives the puzzle. So you have one or two different ways that it can be solved, and maybe three on some of the more complex ones. In this, I mean, the possibilities are endless. I can see, just looking at the puzzle, I can see at least 4 or 5 different ways to solve it. It's just about which one I prefer to use.
And then there's just times where literally you just happen to have the right item in your inventory, and you're like, I'm not going to do this puzzle at all.
I'm just going to skip the puzzle entirely.
I'm just going to
skip the whole puzzle, and that's how we're going to do it.
And the game's like, okay.
You can do that. Yeah.
Like puzzles are for geniuses. Fuck this.
Yeah. I mean, if you're and truth be told, are there puzzles in the shrines in Breath of the Wild that I struggled with? Yes. There are puzzles in Tears of the Kingdom that I've spent 20 minutes trying to figure out the solution for. I'm just like, what is this expecting of me? Yeah. And honestly, Ultra Hand is cool, and it's used a lot in a lot of the puzzles. So sometimes what they're asking you to make is just something you wouldn't normally think to make with the two items you can stick together. Mm-hmm. Like turning a little mechanism that goes up and down into a pinball paddle to knock a ball into a target over here. Amazing, right? Yeah. But you wouldn't necessarily think to do that until you start looking at the components that are sitting in front of you and you go, what can I make with these? Right? So the game, and that's not the only way to do it. You can just walk over to the target and shoot a bomb arrow at it and be done. Boom. You don't have to engage in the pinball aspect if that's not what you want to do. But when you do that and when you do it right, it feels perfect. It feels fresh. It feels new.
It can be as creative as you want it to be. Yeah, that's amazing.
You get what you put into this.
Some of the complaints I've heard from some friends is that they're struggling with that freedom too. Like just it's like I don't really get like what I'm supposed to, there's too much, to do, but like
that's because games don't usually give us this much freedom.
So they're like I just want to go on this adventure, but like for me like like being able to just creatively make this thing that lets me maybe do something in a way that no one else thought of. Like just because I happen to be my weird little thing on the autistic spectrum just happens to come out right now where I'm like, haha, I made this weird teeter-totter with this Korok that launches me. It's just weird stuff.
And it can be as simple as building a boat to get across a river that you can't swim because you don't have the stamina. Or it can be as complex as building a mech suit to fight a Lionel. I've seen people do it. Right, built a mech suit,
up in that mech suit,
and put themselves inside of it in a way that allows them to use another ability that we're going to talk about here in a minute, Ascend, to put themselves in a box where the Lionel cannot hurt them.
Yeah,
where they are completely protected as long as the battery life holds out on their mech.
And you can just keep renewing that too.
Yeah, and you can just sit there for a minute, let it recharge, and then start it up again.
The ability to send.
So I'm going to tell you, before we start,
Go ahead.
Can I tell you, I have forgotten about Ascend so many times.
You took the words right out of my mouth. It wasn't while we were kissing. No.
I dropped down into
R.I.P.
a well that didn't have a ladder and reloaded an old save.
Yeah.
Because I was like, how the fuck do I get out of here?
That's exactly.
I had an ability ready to go.
Ascend is such a versatile ability that is so easy to forget, and you feel as smart as you feel building something with Ultra Hand.
When you forget that you have Ascend,
I'm sitting there like, how do I get out of here? I clearly there's more to this place. What am I supposed to do? But then there's things like even to unlock the towers, like which are like these waypoints. That allow you to expand the map.
Points. Yeah,
they're like the
big towers you climb up in Assassin's Creed and you sit there with your bird.
So like the game had started introducing some that were just locked off. It's like, nope, you can't get in here. It's locked off. There's a boulder here. You can't move with Ultra Hand, or there's snow and stuff. Yeah. And I'm like, well, what are you supposed to do?
And then you touch the side of your nose and go up the chimney like Santa Claus.
You got to go into a cave below it.
Yeah.
Find the spot directly underneath it and ascend.
But then there's times though where it's like you really have to think like, okay, let me go back up on the surface. Let me look at my coordinates, and now I have to match those coordinates underneath.
I just use markers. I just use markers to keep track of when I'm underneath the room I need to be.
Well, that's probably a smarter idea, but
yeah, I mean the markers are there. I'm not talking about the colorful ones that disappear. I'm talking about the ones that stay on the map.
I just use those to denote like certain discoveries.
Sure.
So that way I know I've gotten them.
Now, can you get stuck ascending?
No. It's not possible.
You
can cancel your ascend if you get to the top and don't like where it's left you. You can cancel it and go back down.
It won't let you use it in certain spots, so it'll be red. Once it's green, you got a clear path. Now, something that an old friend of ours, Derek Brink, mentioned on Facebook, which I agree with, and I don't think is going to happen. I don't think Nintendo's going to do this. He's like, unless if Nintendo does not have something chase you through an ascend, that's a missed opportunity. How cool would that have been?
That would have been.
I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen. But like, he's right. That would have been super cool.
Because the enemies now can use fused weapons, right? We'll talk about that ability in a minute, which is the ability to fuse things to your weapons. The enemies can use fused weapons, so clearly they can do it too.
I think just like one of those, like in Resident Evil, like when you're going through and like there's a place you've been to, something pops out, through a window that didn't happen before, or in I can't think of the darn game, but where you've gone through an area before, God of War, where you open up a chest and an enemy pops out at you, right? It's just
because it's a coffin,
like
right, and some of the bodies turned into hellwalkers,
and but you've opened 1,000 of them, and
they've always been treasure.
Like once or twice in the game, you'll get this thing where it just jump scares you. Like I think that he's right. That would have been really cool if you're using Ascend for the 100th time and something just grabs your ankle and you
it's like the Batman Arkham Knight thing when you meet the Man-Bat. Right?
Yeah.
You've done this thing where you grapple off a building and shoot up so many times, and all of a sudden it stops you and screams at you, right? Out of nowhere. So yeah, I understand that. But so it's an ability that now I feel like, I'm a good amount into the game now. Yeah. And I feel like I remember that it's there all the time now. But at the beginning, I forgot about it all the time.
I was doing, yesterday I was doing this one puzzle where the entire shrine rotates on 2 axes,
and you have to get a line the ascend tunnel.
Yeah, and it was just so cool because you have to turn it so much this one way, then you have to turn it up the other way. Yeah, and just line it up perfectly, and it's a game that really rewards you with feeling like a genius.
It does. It makes you feel smart when you've solved a puzzle that was difficult.
There are so many super geniuses at home right now that are like, I am a fucking genius.
I should make a Zelda game.
But so. The next ability, right? Because again, I think auto build is a cool ability, but it's not one that you get on the tutorial island. So I think we'll stick to those, right? But the other one is fuse, which allows you to, with the exception of animals and fish that you collect, you can attach anything to a weapon, and it will alter that weapon state in some way.
To be fair, you can shoot a fish on your arrow.
No, you can't attach fish.
Are you sure?
Yeah, you can't attach fish, lizards, frogs, any of that stuff.
Oh.
You can attach all the plants and all the monster parts.
I must have just dreamed it.
Yeah, you can't attach a fish. I know, because there's an exploit.
3 out of 10 game.
There's an exploit that allows you to duplicate things. and it requires you to be able to attach something to an arrow. And I wish I could duplicate fish, because you need fish to upgrade your fish armor.
I haven't gotten fish armor yet.
Oh yeah, that's
awesome.
You get that in Zora's Domain,
Does it let you
just
dive?
like you did in the original.
Like,
No.
But it
doesn't
swim. You don't like lose like.
Right, but it has a new mechanic where when you ascend up the waterfall, you remember swimming up the waterfall, where you don't have to be at the bottom of the waterfall. You can just float into the waterfall and
That's
just
cool.
automatically
that's
start
so
swimming.
cool.
And I'm just like, that's brilliant quality of life improvement, guys.
But Fuse.
But Fuse.
Fuse again. Like I forgot in some pretty crucial moments. So like.
Oh no, I was having way too much fun.
I'm
with Fuse.
constantly so like I literally like the other day I had like the most god tier luck with my amiibo where I got 14 out of 26 of my amiibo gave me a rare item, and I somehow ended up with 2 big Goron swords.
Well, yeah, because there's
So now I have one giant big Goron
there's
sword.
a tiny Link amiibo and
Yeah.
an old Link amiibo
Yeah.
for Ocarina of Time that can both give
so
you
I got
That's
both,
amazing.
and I'm like, well, I'm gonna fuse them sons of bitches.
Oh my God,
So
you
now I
made a
just
big
have
Goron-
the
big
biggest
Goron
Goron sword, and it's like, you know, it's already like a 32 episode. Now I have this 64 strength weapon.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And just like smack the crap out of things. But like, it's one of those things where like I had the solution right there in front of me, and I was overthinking it. So I was trying to get. It was actually so I could ascend up through a tower. You had to like clear away these rocks, and I'm sitting there like shooting bomb flowers. I'm using the Zonai bomb items, and I run out. I'm like, what the hell do I do now? So I'm like going all over creation to try and find like something like a new weapon that I can use it. And then like all the
fuse a rock to a stick and
literally
make a hammer.
it just clicked. All of a sudden it clicked.
That is what the solution is, Chris.
Yeah.
You're laughing, but that's the solution.
Like, literally-
fuse a rock to a piece of wood to make a hammer
laying by the rocks. There's a stick and a rock.
and a rock.
Well, I'm laughing because of the meme that was on our Facebook. Did you see it?
No.
So it's a Nokia phone. It's duct taped to a fucking stick. So that's why I was laughing.
Jesus.
Tears of the Kingdom
that's the
players
solution.
right now. Yeah.
That's the solution. A
It
stick
was right
and a rock
there.
made a
That's
hammer.
And
amazing.
I'm sitting there like going to try to collect bomb flowers in a completely different place because they're not there. I go back and I'm like, haha, I have bomb flowers now. Like, and then I just see it. I'm like, wait.
He's like, I just spent 4 hours getting bomb flowers.
I'm an idiot.
Yeah, they're not, unless you're in the Underdark, they're not
It's
sparse.
It's worse than that because I was like, I'm probably gonna run out of bomb flowers for this. I'm like, I have an idea. I'm gonna go scan my amiibo and hopefully I get some explodable barrels.
Jeez.
And I didn't. So I'm like sitting there scanning all the. I don't get any. I'm like, oh, I'm screwed. I'm like, well, I guess I'm gonna go try and like make these like 3 bomb flowers last. And I just walk in, I see the stick, and
the
it
rock.
just clicks. I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah.
He's like,
See,
so I
I
haven't
think
played the game since.
Of the abilities, right? Of the abilities, Fuse is the one I resonated with immediately. Like, I never really was a fan of weapon durability, and I understand its importance within the games world because there's plenty of shit to pick up. You're never going to want for weapons, right? There's plenty of things you can go kill or camps you can just sneak into and steal all their weapons. So you're never going to want for weapons. But Fuse was a thing that immediately made me go, oh my God, this is the best thing about the game. Right, is that I can turn something that's nonsense, like a rusted out claymore, into a giant stone hammer that does 60 damage because it's a giant rock that I fused to a sword that is two-handed, you know? Like, that in and of itself was the one element of the new elements that really resonated with me immediately. And so I never, and enemies, when you see the enemies mining, that's what they've done.
Yeah.
They've put a rock on a stick, and that's how they're mining ore. So they show you, this is how you do it. See me doing it? This is how you do it.
My
Mike's
favorite.
like, no, you do it with bombs.
But that's what Breath of the Wild
works.
taught us. That's what Breath of the Wild taught us. You need bombs to break rocks.
No, that's incredible.
Breath of the Wild taught us that.
My favorite thing about Fuse is the traversal options. Like, my favorite thing to do is to go.
I know what you're about to say.
Go up to the giant gotcha machines, get a bunch of Zonai rockets,
Yeah.
attach Zonai rockets to my shields, and it's like this whole entire like platform ascent up to things that you're supposed to do. I'm like, nope. Rocket, Zonai charge, there I am, float into it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, attaching the rocket to your shield essentially replaces Rivali's Gale.
You just
Yeah.
Where he would shoot you up into the sky
That's
real high.
incredible.
Yeah, it just replaces it. You just put a rocket on your shield, it shoots you up into the
It's
sky.
so good.
And if you put if you put a rocket on a couple of shields, you can literally just switch between them while in the air and just chain them together.
Oh my god!
So you can achieve a higher height than Rivali's Gale ever was able to give you.
I just found an even better version of it, which I'm sure a lot of people are like, yeah, I did that right away, but I didn't even think about it. You know those one platforms that just hover where they stay?
Yeah.
If you just put a single rocket right in the middle of there, it lasts longer. It doesn't break
away
as easily. And it takes you so high, and then it just stays there.
Yeah.
So if you have multiple rockets, you just keep going and going and going.
Nice.
In the sky, that's how the sky islands stay up there. There's just less gravity. So like when you shoot a platform into the sky, it just floats.
Kind of hangs out.
Yeah, it just
you.
hangs there.
Nice.
Eventually the momentum will stop, and it will stop. But it won't come back down. It just stays wherever you stop it.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's really fun.
And then there's one more ability.
There is one more ability.
Besides
you get
auto build, which
yeah, you get 4 abilities in the Great Sky Island, which
Just
is
like
the
in the Great Plateau, you
tutorial
get
area of the
those-
Great Plateau.
these are your items that are going to go the whole game.
Yeah. So we've talked about Fuse, we've talked about Ascend, we've talked about Ultra Hand, and the last one to talk about is
Rewind.
yes. What do they call it though?
Rewind.
Is it just Rewind?
It's just Rewind.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm pretty certain.
Where you can just
Leave a
rewind
comment if I'm wrong.
yeah, leave a comment, right? I don't
Leave
remember.
a comment if I'm right too.
Yeah.
I can
Say
Google
hi.
it on my smart machine.
Yeah,
That's all right, fuck
but
it.
essentially it allows you to reverse the momentum and path of anything that has moved. Right? So right away, I was doing things like moving things up high and then bringing them back down with Ultra Hand and then stepping on them and rewinding them so they just moved me back up high where I had it, where I was holding it in the sky. Immediately I was just like, this is amazing.
Day one, like I was noticing pieces of the islands
sky.
up there would fall down.
You just stand
You
on
literally
it,
go stand on it,
them.
rewind. Now you're up in the sky.
Yeah, it'll just swoop and go back up to
I
where
think
it fell
didn't they
down
show
from.
us that in the
They did.
original playthrough? Yeah.
Yeah,
I
they
did not I held off so long on watching anything. Jason finally got me to watch the final trailer. I really wanted to go in fresh.
Because the final trailer is a brilliant
it's
trailer.
good.
We talked about it on the show.
But I love it because one of the best things about this game is just the comedy of error. The screw ups that occur.
The things you're gonna do
when
that
you're
are gonna
going-
work
you're like,
terribly.
You put so much work into this, and you just see it all come crashing down. You know, like you build this amazing, hovercraft that you're gonna go and take and fly to the island. You get it all set up, and then it just
Immediately
goes
goes, "Whoa!"
toppling over the side. Rewind.
Yep.
Rewind. You sit there, you laugh about it, but rewind will pull it back and give you that extra chance. Or maybe you just miss like a jump onto something that's going to take you higher. So like there's this one shrine where a glider comes down and kind of arcs back up, and with rewind, I was able to rewind it to a point where it was just coming down on the descent, stand in front of it, and then jump right onto it and carry on to the rest of the puzzle.
Right.
You're supposed to actually build, like it's showing you what you're going to what you have to do, like build one. Like, no, I'm just going to use the one that's being.
He's like, you've already
that's
got one
demonstrating
built.
it to
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
I
yeah.
just hopped on it, flew over there,
Yeah.
and completed the puzzle. So like rewind is super super versatile. It has some application in combat, but not like what was stasis? Was that in Breath of the Wild?
Stasis allowed you to actually freeze enemies in place for a set amount of
Yeah,
time.
like I honestly feel like this game is more about traversal. Like the abilities let you do more things out of combat than in. And I appreciate that. I'll be honest, I'm not all that, over the moon about the combat in Breath of the Wild or this. That's not why I'm really
parrying and
in on these games.
and flurry rushing.
Man,
oh
I
my
play
God.
Dark Souls, so I'll
It makes
get
me
my parrying and stuff like that.
It makes me so happy every time I do it.
It's very, very easy for the layman to get into, and that's cool. But it's not a super complex and
No, not at all.
And I think just like engrossing combat system for me. The reason I play these games is for the exploration, and so these
The story.
abilities give me more of that.
Did you make a skateboard yet?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can attach a minecart to your shield and make a skateboard.
That's
I'm-
badass.
I'm the guy that made this giant tank to go and fight one of those, I forget what they're called, but like the weird block people.
The weird what?
There's like these weird block bosses.
Oh
that you
yeah,
fight.
the
I don't know what they're called.
they're essentially like golems.
Yeah.
Right, stone golems. Yeah.
And then they're tough. They are
They
tough
are.
fights.
They They're very powerful. They'll deal all of your health and damage with one hit.
You just go and you build this giant cube of your own
and protect yourself in it, and shoot lasers.
You put some cannons on there
and fire and all the things. Did you see the person that made a wagon I watched this on the internet, made a wagon and was trying to make a wagon that would shoot fire from the front of it to attack things in front of it, but because fire lights grass on fire, ended up catching his wagon on fire as soon as he turned it on.
That's what I'm saying.
The possibilities for humor are going to be endless.
Failure is a huge part of this game, and and I love it. I love when I screw up.
The possibilities for humor are going to literally be endless.
How many different ways can I just completely botch what I'm trying to do here?
Yeah.
One of the things with Ultra Hand that I don't know if you guys saw that Nintendo clearly wasn't planning on is people that are crucifying the Koroks.
Oh my god, I know.
So they're like, have you have started playing a little bit?
No, I've not.
Breath of the Wild, though.
So in this game, several times, they've added this Korok that's gotten lost from its friend, and it's got this big backpack and it can't walk, and that is the one thing that you can actually ultra hand
and pick up.
So if you take 2 pieces of wood,
oh my god,
and you take
people
the
have been
Korok,
crucifying Koroks and lighting their crosses on fire and shit. Like it's a little dark.
Oh my god,
it's a little dark.
But Nintendo wasn't thinking of that.
As someone who got a lot of Koroks and spent a lot of time having to find Koroks because they tied getting Korok seeds into inventory enhancement. Mm-hmm. So as someone who spent a lot of time collecting 500 fucking Koroks or whatever it took to get all the inventory slots, I'm angry that I have to do it again. And there are more. There are 1,000 Koroks now. There were only 900 in the first game.
There was 999, I think.
No, there was 900.
Was it just 900?
Yeah, it was 900.
Do you know what the final reward was?
It's poop.
Yeah.
Because Korok seeds are poop.
So in this game,
it even says in its description, look at the description on a Korok seed in Breath of the Wild, because the description is the same, right? It has a distinct odor.
You get a golden poo.
And when Hestu senses when you meet him out in the wild the first time and he senses that you have seeds on you, he does it by going, you've got Korok seeds, don't you?
Oh my god.
Because it's poop. Yeah. It's literally Korok's poop gold.
So Nintendo had a great opportunity. We're going to put the Koroks in again. We're even going to add more. Nintendo had a wonderful opportunity to really give this fantastic reward this time. And have you heard what it is?
It's still poop.
It's still poo.
It's still just
the golden poo.
That's a fantastic.
It's called Hestu's gift.
Yeah.
And
they doubled down.
And the Korok
you might say
poo,
that they took a number 2.
Yeah. The Korok poo looks like a little teardrop, right? Whatever. But Hestu's gift actually looks like coiled.
It's a golden
poop
coil.
Yeah. That's incredible.
It's poop. They gave us poop. That was the reward for all that hard work, was poop.
That's what you get, nerds.
Yeah, you shouldn't do that. I did.
But I think that's because Nintendo never intended you to get all the Korok seeds. The reason there's so many is so that every place you are on the map, you can find
have the opportunity to max it out. Whether
right.
You know.
And again, I'm thinking the original number, right? I think the original number was 441 to max out every inventory slot that you had. After that, there's no reason to get them anymore unless you really just want the poop. You want that
if you're a true completionist.
Yeah, if you're a true completionist, you want that completion poop, okay, you'll get it. But the purpose of them is not to be collected. The purpose of them is to upgrade inventory slots. So once you've maxed that out, why are you still collecting them? Yeah. You know? So anyway, we talked about the 4 abilities. We're kind of at the same place, at least closely to the story, which is great, by the way. I think I've talked about it a little bit. I think when we were talking about this before we started, but I think the greatest thing about this game is going to be replaying the first game to understand the perspective that shifts as a result of what we've seen here.
Yeah, that's
because it's definitely a sequel. It's definitely the sequel to Breath of the Wild.
Once we have finished this, I have a feeling it's going to be even more so.
And Ganondorf is daddy. I mean, look, people said that on the internet when we started seeing him, but when you see him in the game with his fucking sexy man bun and his samurai-inspired outfit with his chest hanging out, dude, you're daddy, bro. I understand why everybody's daddying you.
It's the coolest looking Ganondorf.
You know what I'm looking forward to? And before we, get done, I want to hear from you too what you're thinking and what you're looking forward to in the final boss fight. But I'm looking forward to a Twilight Princess style straight up sword fight against Ganondorf. And I really hope we get that. I don't want to just fight the Demon King. I want to fight Ganondorf.
I think that's what you're going to get. I mean, we already fought like in Breath of the Wild. We got
Chris,
we got all the phantom cannons.
Chris, I'm gonna fight Daddy.
Just working through some familial issues there. That's fine. It's therapy. I'll be honest. So I had this this hope going into it based off of story trailers that I'm pretty certain is false. What I would have liked would have been that at some point, and maybe something happens. I doubt it though. Now that I've seen kind of where they're going with it, I would have liked for Demise to have truly cropped back up, and like at a certain point, you have to team up with Ganondorf to stop that. Like,
Sure.
I think that would have been really cool. I don't think Nintendo, looking at it now, like that was just like a pipe dream. But Nintendo wouldn't do that. Like they keep things simple. They don't break the mold too much.
Right.
But I think this game would have afforded a unique opportunity for that. I would have liked the misdirect. You know, like you're thinking it's all going to be this, but then you have the Return of Demise. You know, maybe it's like split off. You know, from Ganondorf through whatever reason.
Yeah.
Now you're having to team up with this character that's always been your big enemy. That would have been cool. Not the direction I think they're going to go. So I think
he's the bad guy for sure.
I think you're going to get exactly what you're saying. I think it's just going to be like Link versus Ganon. Maybe get a little Zelda action in there. You know, like
we'll see.
You know, shooting some
light
power
arrows
swords
or something.
Like that,
yeah, we'll see.
Pretty
I
common.
think though that the point of connecting him to Demise comes through in when he makes his Demon King transformation.
Mm-hmm.
When the true power that gives him immortal life comes out, it looks like Demise.
It does.
Right? Like when you see him turn after becoming the Demon King, he looks like Demise. He's got the horns, he's got the big long hair. Like he's Demise because that's what actually fuels him is Demise.
But everybody thought like, oh, it's just going to be Demise. And that trailer was
I
like,
did too.
It's going to be Demise.
And I did too.
But
I really did.
Spoiler, it's Ganondorf.
It's just Ganondorf.
Just, you know, with that essence, you know.
It's Demon King Ganondorf, right? It's not Ganon Calamity. It's Ganondorf, the man, turned into the Demon King. Yeah.
So,
But he's great. It's great. I can't wait to see the
good
end.
performances, you know, like.
Yeah. Voice acting has always been solid. I've loved it since they instituted it in Breath of the Wild.
And there's a lot more of it in this game.
There's
like this,
yeah.
the story.
Is it actually Matt Mercer too doing
It is.
It is.
Okay.
It's Mercer.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, one of the first lines I hear from him that really just shook me, that I was just like, wow, you're good at this, bro, was that the Master Sword? When he talks about how a sword that shatters so easily could not stop me from or whatever it was, right? Because spoiler alert, within the first 10 minutes of the game, the Master Sword gets shattered by Ganondorf's evil. Shattered. I mean, now you can reclaim
easily.
it. You can reclaim it.
Also, I mean, and in that same moment, like, dude, Link loses an arm, y'all.
He does.
My boy loses his arm.
He has to get the arm of a dead man grafted onto his flesh.
When Raru shows up, like, you know how everybody gets a title, you know, like, you know, like God of Twilight, Dragon of all this stuff. Just, what is it? I forget what it was. It's like owner of the right arm or like provider of the right arm.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a bad title. Just like, that's all you are, Raru. Raru's cool as hell.
No, Raru is really good. The Zonai in general, I think, was a good little... That was something they hinted at in Breath of the Wild, in the Farron region, where you see the old architecture of a society that used to live here.
The Berserker armor talks about it a little bit.
The Berserker armor was obviously something they wore. So yeah, I'm glad we explored that a little bit, and we filled in that piece. These are the people who lived in the sky. They took their whole society into the sky, you know.
So there are some things that have bugged me a bit. I'm curious what your thoughts on it are.
Okay.
So early on, like when you first get to like, what is it, Lookout Landing or whatever it's called, like everybody there knows you, right? Like it feels like a true continuation. Everybody's like, Link, it's you, and like, you know, we thought you were gone.
Where have you been?
You know, and all this stuff. But that fades pretty quickly.
Yeah. Where people that you know from the first game are like, oh, what can I do for you? What's your name? Link? Oh, Link.
So my first thing was Hestu. Like I saw him, he didn't know me, and I was like, oh well, that's okay. It's Hestu. He's an idiot. You know, like
he's a big dumb maraca shaking Korok.
But like when I got to Hateno, nobody knows me.
I lived there.
I was devastated when I saw Bolson. I'm like, Bolson, you built my house.
Yeah.
You know, and
we built a whole town together in the first game.
Well, like Hudson knows you.
Yeah.
You know, so like selectively they'll choose people, and so like I get it.
Because it has to feel like a new and a continuation.
Exactly.
Right?
So
it has to feel like both.
And there's going to be people that just pick this up without having played Breath of the Wild. So like they don't want to weigh it down too much. So I think that they did just compromise, but I don't know. Like they did implement reading your save file, because if you had certain things,
horses
or if you
and stuff, completed the Champions
so
Ballad
like,
DLC.
I think that it would have been a little work, but like it did kind of mess with my immersion a little bit. Just when like these people, like especially after the beginning part of the game, everyone did know who I was in Lookout Landing, and I was like, oh, this is great. This really feels like this living, breathing place. And then suddenly, like that just goes away real quick.
I feel like an appropriate thing to do there, though, it would be just do the almost Amnesia-esque thing where it's like, Link, is that you?
And I thought that's where they were going to go with it for a while. And who knows? Maybe that does happen, and I'm prejudging it. But
There's certain places where everybody knows you.
Yeah.
So like Lookout Landing is one of them. Zora's Domain is another. Every Zora's like, Link!
Like
how have you been?
The big towns, right?
No,
like,
not the big towns. Because when you walk into Rito Village, not all the Rito know you. And they should know you.
So like the important ones knew me, I felt like.
Right. Teba knew you, and his wife knew you, and the little girls... The little girls that you helped
the
sing,
five songbirds.
They knew you, right? But I had the same thing when I went into Goron City. The leader guy didn't remember me.
Okay, that's weird.
Right? Like, so I think there are certain places where who Link is more important.
Yeah.
And in like Zora's Domain, he was the knight who protected the princess. Yeah. He came in an official capacity to their city as a knight errant.
And
right?
Of course, like Sidon's not gonna.
Right. They call him Sir Link.
Yeah.
They use his title when they talk to him. At least when Sidon's wife or fiance talks to him.
Jelly.
Whatever. So they replaced the Mifa statue. This isn't even a very big spoiler, right? Because you know what happened between Link and Sidon in the first game. Mm-hmm. So the Mifa statue's been moved up to Ploymus Mountain, where they've created like a garden.
Shrine for her.
Yeah, a shrine for her. So the statue in the center of Zora's Domain has been replaced.
With Link?
No. It's Sidon with Link on his back.
No, it's not.
It is. Oh, and I was like, this is why Sidon is my boyfriend.
This is amazing.
Like, look at that statue.
I can't wait to see this now.
It's great. It's not even a huge spoiler. It's not really mentioned a lot. It's shown to you right after you get there.
That's just bait on a hook. No pun intended for Zora.
Anyway, that's our thoughts on Tears of the Kingdom, though. Like, it's a great game. You need to play it.
I do.
So that when we come back together, when we've finished it, and we're going to do a spoiler cast on the final thoughts of the game, you're ready for that?
I do need to be prepared. I need to be, and I need to make my giant flaming dick, you know?
Sure, yeah. You need to make all the ridiculous things that you want to make that are never going to work.
Yeah, I don't even want them to work. I don't even want them to work. I just want to make phallic things for the game, you know?
And you can do that.
Like any
14-year-old.
you
You could replace the flame. You could turn it sideways and put a propeller on it, and you just use the propeller penis.
It'll be my cock glider.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. It's going to fly it around like...
Jesus Christ.
Ganondorf won't be ready for that.
Yeah, he won't.
No, I use this to water plants.
There is a water thing.
There is, I was doing that this morning.
Shit. There's like a little hydrant thing you could get that shoots water out.
Yeah. Oh, God. The possibilities. We can make them fight.
You actually use it. You actually use it in a clever way, though. I thought that was clever, where you use water to like turn lava into stone.
Okay, that makes sense.
That was clever, the way they implemented it.
But now you just, make your big giant woodman and,
Goddamn right you do.
Give one a fire dick and give one a water dick and see who wins. Jesus Christ.
One will be destroyed.
We win.
We all win.
Just go drop the water one into Elden Volcano or whatever.
Jeez. Oh, Death Mountain, you mean? Yeah.
Follow it in there.
You guys need to go to entertainthegeeky.com.
Right over there, below that guy down there.
There we go.
Where you can follow us on all of our social medias and all that fun stuff.
Heck yeah.
If you are not subscribed to the podcast and the YouTube channel, you should do that. It will help us out immensely. We make $0.00.
Wait, we don't get paid?
That's right. No, you just did this for free. So
did you not know that?
We would like to do this full time someday, like a grown up.
Yes,
like a grown up.
It's funny to say like a grown up because most of the people that are doing this for a living are much younger than we are.
Way younger than we are. They're younger, better looking, have
more charisma,
have a better understanding of what's happening. And here we are. We're like, we know things.
Yeah, we're old nerds.
Yeah.
So yeah, go there, do the stuff. We love you. Stay geeky. There you go.